Okay, so if you watched my first video where I was using Make the Cut to cut out some names to make a shadow behind it, you know that I'm working on some frames for a friend of mine, a couple of friends of mine. The first one, these are the frames that I purchased. I got them in Michael's. They were $1, and they make super great gifts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the backs of these. Two of them I'm going to paint red, and one of them I'm going to paint blue because that's their, these are actually their grandbabies, so this is their favorite colors. So the first one I'm going to do for Elliot, it's going to be, I'm going to use this paper right here, which is out of the Die Cuts with a View Animal Stack. I think that's the name of it. I'm not sure. And this one is from, again, Die Cuts with a View, All About Boys. And I believe this one too came out of that pack. So I'm going to paint these. We're going to come back. We're going to adhere these to the front. We're going to cut out the center portion of these frames. And then we're going to work on the embellishments. And I'm going to come back and we're going to cut out the names with Make the Cut. And I'm going to show you how super easy that software is to hook up to your computer, to your Cricut, from your Cricut to your computer, and cut it out. Okay, I'm working on my first coat of paint on one of the frames. I wanted to just, I cut my thing down so it works perfect, to remind you to get the inside of your frame here. Although your picture's going to be in here and it's on the back side, it just gives it a little more finished detail to it. And also, don't forget to get your edges, because we're going to cover the front with paper, so that's not going to matter. And also, the little dowel that's included for your stand, it looks, I've used some before. I've covered it with paper, although it was a little thick to put in the hole afterwards, but also remember to paint it too. It just, again, gives it a little more finished look. So this is the first coat, almost finished on this one. It's acrylic paint, so it's almost dry. I think I'm going to give it a second coat. I can see the wood grain through it, although I do like that look. I think on this one I'm gonna do a second coat just to make it a little bit darker. And also, if you'll look down inside the frame there, remember to paint that too, because you will be able to see it when you put your picture in. And you have all the back painted and your front covered. When you put your picture in and you see that this lip unfinished here, it's not very appealing. So just remember to finish all your surfaces that you can see, other than that very front part that you're going to cover with paper. Okay, this is where we are. I have all my names on my mat that I need to cut. Now we're going to load our mat. Now we're going to go back to our Make the Cut software, and we're going to click the button and preview how it's going to cut. Okay, and now we're going to hit cut. So now that I've got all of my names cut out, layered, and adhered together, we're going to start working on the frame. I have 3 frames that I'm going to do, but we're going to just kind of work on one. This is my blue one, and I want to make sure that my hole is at the bottom when I line my paper up so that I won't have it upside down. I'm going to try this clear gel tacky glue by Leans, and I hope that my paper does not pucker, but we will see. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our adhesive, we're going to put it on the back here, well, it's actually the front, I'm sorry, the front of our frame. Then we're going to take our little sponge and kind of flatten it out, smooth it out, and then I'm going to lay my paper on top of this. And I'm going to take my piece of paper and I'm just going to I'm going to take it and I'm going to try to get my edge as close as I can. I'm going to have to trim my corner off, but I'm going to try to line up my bottom here so I won't have to trim that much. And then I'm going to start from the bottom, and I'm just going to lay it down, paper down, and I'm going to press. Okay, we've got our frames covered, and I wanted to tell you, do not use the adhesive that I used. The clear gel tacky glue because it did make my paper pucker. Okay, I got my little dauber, and what we're going to do is we're going to take some distressing ink, and really just what I want is I just want the blue, because the white core after I cut is showing through, so I just want to kind of clean that up. And right there where I sanded my paper down, it took a little of the paint off, so I'm just going to take my dauber and run it through, run it around the edges just to hide that white. Okay, now I've finished up my projects for the day, and instead of coming back every time I did something to them, I decided to just go ahead and finish them, and then I could show you some details. Okay, on this one I spent a lot of time on, mainly because the pattern paper that I used for the front of my frame was so busy that I like to have never decided what to do on it, because everything just kind of it was lost because of the colors in the pattern paper. So around the frame, around the hole where the picture goes, I put some rhinestones. Then I did the name, and make the cut. These cuts were from New Arrival, and I believe I did this one from Animal Kingdom. And here at the bottom I added a strip, and I did some stitching, faux stitching with a white gel pen. I took some eyelets and did 3 on each side here, and then just threaded some string that I had gotten at Michael's. Okay, on this one I used Animal Kingdom on this one, and I used the face feature on each of them. I did his name also in Make the Cut. I used the Spellbinders die to cut the oval here, and each one of these have a circle behind it, and I also cut those in with the Spellbinders die, because on the paper it's kind of hard to see, but you can see the circle behind it. It's got the alligator and the elephant and the monkey, so I was kind of going with that theme. This paper is Die Cuts with a View, Animal Kingdom, and this one was also. Okay, and then on this one for Jackson, I did this background paper has aliens on it, and it was, no, not aliens, it had robots on it. This paper is also from Die Cuts with a View. It's the All About Boys, I believe is the name of it. I'm not positive on that, but it's got boys in the name of it. This robot here, and also this rocket ship here, spaceship here, I created those 2 elements with the Make the Cut software. This was actually a picture from a coloring page, and this was a dingbat. And then I also used Make the Cut software to do his name. This cut and this cut and this cut were all from paper dolls, everyday paper dolls from the Cricut, and I did the little astronaut boy with his telescope, and then with another rocket ship here. And that's about all I did to him. I did use some distress ink around the edges. I just applied that with a makeup sponge, and I have found that they work great, and they're cheap. So here we go again. Just another look.